I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about the Boston Red Sox, who currently find themselves with a 25 and 26 record as they begin a series at home against the Baltimore Orioles. Game 1 of the series was postponed due to rain and will be made up as a day-night doubleheader today on Friday. So it's a good opportunity to kind of take stock of where we are with the Boston Red Sox. So they just played a series against the New York Mets, who are a very good team, and they did take two of three. Now, the Mets aren't playing well at the moment. The struggles of Juan Soto have seemed to be front and center. But the Boston Red Sox, in my opinion, missed a good opportunity to sweep a team when they were down, and that was the New York Mets here. And a lot of it ties back to the decision making surrounding ace starting pitcher Garrett Crochet in the series finale. Now, Crochet was pitching very well. He had only given up one run, and the Boston Red Sox apparently had a predetermined plan set in motion before the game even started, before we were able to see how good Crochet was pitching, and they took him out. And unfortunately, after they took him out, the Mets took the lead and ultimately went on to win the game. So, very frustrating series of events there. Of course, in the seventh inning, that was when the Mets got on the board. They got a couple of singles. Luis Torrens began things off. He lined a single to center field. Then you had Tyrone Taylor, who knocked a base hit into right field. Luis Angel Acuna beat out an infield chopper. And then Brett Beatty, after he had hit an RBI double off Garrett Crochet, a left-hander, in the second inning, he got a two-run single, and that was a big hit. So that was a big hit. Then Juan Soto later came up and drove a runner in with a sacrifice fly. Francisco Lindor added some insurance, and that proved to be all the Mets needed. But from the Red Sox point of view, I think a lot of people were frustrated that there was a predetermined plan to take Garrett Crochet out after a certain number of pitches. And a lot of people are wondering why this Red Sox team is 25 and 26, because they made so many nice moves this winter, including the aforementioned Garrett Crochet in a massive trade with the Chicago White Sox, but also signing Alex Bregman. And while those two players on their own have been very good, the team has struggled overall. And a lot of people point to a couple different things. I think the biggest thing that people are pointing to is this analytics and this predetermined pitch count, stuff like that. The Red Sox seem to be following this pathway where they're just going to abide by the numbers here. And what I think they missed the point, and where I think a lot of that misses the point, is when you have an opportunity to sweep a team like the New York Mets, you want to give yourself as best of a chance to do that. And that would have meant letting Garrett Crochet pitch a little bit longer, because he was only giving up one run at that point. You let him pitch. You let your ace go out there and try to win you the game. I mean, this is a guy who the team has not performed very well from a win-loss point of view when he's pitching. And here he was giving you a good performance, and you can't win that game. And that's, I think, what's very frustrating for not only fans but also observers. There's something wrong with this Red Sox team where the talent on paper makes it seem like they should be performing a lot better than they actually are, but they aren't. And this game on Wednesday was another example of that. This was an opportunity to throw away the pitch count, to throw away what's on the spreadsheet, and go out there and try to win a game that you need to win. That you had a chance to win because the Mets weren't playing well. They were struggling without Juan Soto. And because they were determined to kind of stick to that plan that they had hatched before the game, they cost themselves an opportunity to do so. So there's something wrong there. And I think related to that is what we heard from Liam Hendriks this was before the game, about his frustration with his usage, saying that if they want to throw me, they want the best out of me, they need to throw me more. And they did, and then ultimately he was the one who helped contribute to that Mets rally there in the seventh inning. But it seems now that there's a little bit more dysfunction in the Red Sox clubhouse than we were initially led to believe there was, and that falls on the manager. That falls on the manager. Because a lot of things you can blame on the general manager. I know in years past they were frustrated that Chaim Bloom didn't go out at the deadline and acquire enough players to help the team compete for a playoff spot. Even this season, you could argue, there was frustration with Craig Breslow about his handling of the Rafael Devers situation, John Henry had to fly out to Kansas City to calm everybody down. But here you have a situation where a player is going out in the media before the game and complaining about his usage. That's something, unfortunately, that can be pinned directly on Alex Cora, and it doesn't look very good for Cora. So, Cora is kind of in an interesting spot. Of course, he has his contract extension that he signed last summer, but these things about the clubhouse and dysfunction in the clubhouse aren't good. They don't look good on Cora. So I would watch that if I were a fan and make sure nothing else like that continues to pop up, because if it does, Cora could be in a little bit of trouble here. We'll see. But I think overall, the most frustrating part about this team is they couldn't go out and sweep the New York Mets, who were struggling, and they couldn't do it because they were wedded to this pitch count of Garrett Crochet. They only would let him pitch, I think it was something like 85 to 90 pitches. Well, sure enough, he hit that mark, and he was out of the game, even though he was pitching well. Frustrating. When you have a chance to sweep a team, you need to let your starting pitcher go out there and give it as much as he can. The Red Sox didn't allow that. So, you are where you are. They have a chance to play a struggling Baltimore Orioles team, and here again, let's see if they go out there and not only win this series, but sweep them. The Orioles are struggling. The Orioles have the second worst record in the American League. You have to go out there and beat this Orioles team. Can the Red Sox do it? We'll find out in a little bit here as they get ready for the doubleheader, but much more consistent production is needed from this Red Sox team if anybody's going to start believing them. So, we'll react to that Red Sox-Orioles series after it's finished, and this has been another video here talking about the struggles and inconsistency of the Boston Red Sox.